Hello, and welcome to the People Chronicles, Storied Women. My name is Anna Rose Ingarra-Milch. I am your host. I'm also the author of Lunch with Lucille. Lunch with Lucille is a story of how one woman's life impacted another woman. And on Storied Women, we bring women from our community to share their story so we can learn from them as well. And today I have a special guest, and her name is Rosa Parra.
Hello everyone.
Welcome, Rosa.
Thank you.
Rather than me go through your history, tell us just a little bit about who you are and what you do, and then I want to ask you that one special question.
Sure. My name again is Rosa Parra. I am the owner CEO of El Palo magazine. It's a Berks County bilingual magazine that I started around 7 years ago. I will say that I've always said it was not my idea. It was actually my husband's idea, but back then he was not my husband, but he was a stranger actually that just approached me and said, hey, would you like to do a magazine? And I said, I'm a banker. I work at a bank, and I had been working at the bank like 20 years or so. And he said, let's do a magazine. And I said, what would the magazine be about? And he said, oh, just, club stuff, DJ. And then after the first magazine, I said, you know what, our community needs something a little better. I think our community needs something educational. Latinos in general in this area are not known as much for reading in this area, so I thought it would be a product for them to learn to read, or even some people even Latinos who don't know Spanish, just to learn how to read Spanish, because it's not something, if you grew up here, not something that you're accustomed to having Spanish material to read. So I went that route, and pretty much I took over the magazine. And when I realized 3 months later he hadn't registered the magazine or done anything with it, I said, you have to register this. So he said, well, I'm not really interested too much the route you're taking it, but I'll help you. And I registered it on my own and kept the magazine for myself.
So you are the editor of El Palo magazine?
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
And, oh, look, Mark Anthony. He's coming to town, right?
Yep, on the 10th, Friday.
On the 10th.
We'll be there.
Okay, so, all right. And so I know, and then you also have another gig?
Yes, we also, I do several things, but I'm also the marketing manager for Mega 92.9.
Right.
I do that as well.
And Mega 92.9
is a Latino radio station. It originated in Allentown, and now they have one here as well. They started here around May.
Okay.
So it's everything I do, I try to connect with, pretty much I realize it's connected with some type of advertising or media that we do for the client. And out of the magazine also came another company that I have. It's El Palo Graphics. So I do business cards, menus, flyers, logos. So it works out well, because the way I see it, when a client, for example, Mi Casa Su Casa, let's say, if they would open, she says to me, hey, I just opened a restaurant. I can do her business cards, I can do her flyers, I can do her menus, I can have her advertise in the magazine, and I can also offer radio advertisement as well. So it's almost like a full package that I can offer clients. And a lot of clients feel comfortable with that because they don't have to see one person for their business card, one person. So that kind of helps out a lot.
So you almost become their creative consultant.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. So now, on the People Chronicles Storied Women, we always ask this question: what is it that you want the takeaway to be? What do you want the people who are watching this to remember from our little chat?
I would have to say that I've learned throughout the years that passion. You have to find your passion. If you don't find your passion, even when I say it, it changes the way I speak.
I hear that, yeah.
You have to find your passion. I worked in the bank for 20 some years, and I had great bosses, great experience, great health benefits. It was all a great experience, but I went in every day to work, went up the same elevator. It just became so, and I never realized that until the bank laid us off temporarily. So they laid us off, but they thought it was permanent layoff. So when they laid us off, I had more time to do the magazine because I had already started the magazine part-time. So when they laid us off, I said, okay, well, I can collect, because it was the first time I've ever collected. I said, I'll collect and work a little bit more.
Collect unemployment?
Collect unemployment. and I can work on it frees me up to work on the magazine full time. So when I started knocking on doors and talking to people and seeing the needs in the Latino community, I'm like, I like this. I like helping my community. So it was something just like, wow, it opened a whole bunch of doors for me because I never realized it. Because during my time at the bank, I would say, I don't do sales. No, I don't do well with that. I do well be in my cubicle and the phone, and then I realized that wasn't me, but it took me a long time to realize that. And when they laid us off and I started working full time in the magazine, I was excited, and the bank calls me back a year and a half later. And when they called me back, I took the job back because it was a decent paying job and I was actually going to make more than what I was making before. So I took the job back. And when I took the job back, for 20 years walking in the same building, and all of a sudden I'm like, morning, and the elevator and everybody's like, morning, and I'm like, I don't want to do this. This is not.
You started to really see it.
And I didn't want to end up like some other people that were not happy. I said, you know what? I love doing the magazine. So I went home and told my husband, I love doing this magazine, but I don't think I can afford to stay home. And he said, Rosa, look, dig deep. Dig really deep. Do you really think that you have to stay with this job? And then I realized I didn't have to. And it was just a lot of things happening at the same time. Almost being 40, finding my passion, doing the magazine. It was just a lot of things that happened at once. It was like almost like a 40 plus thing that happened.
It's an awakening, sure.
Yeah, it was just awesome.
I heard one time, I think it was Dennis Watley, he says, follow your passion, not your pension.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I was making decent money, and I took a leap of faith. I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew that I loved and I was happy, and my kids could even see it. They were excited. And I took the leap of faith, and I haven't regretted it once. Like, I haven't even visualized
So Rosa, when was that? How many years ago was that?
I left the bank 4 years ago.
So all this is happening, you basically found your passion in just 4 or 5 years ago.
Correct.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, I was 40 because I'm 44, so I was 40.
Yeah, 40 is definitely a life-changing experience.
Yeah, you definitely, and I love working with the community, and I've realized that because my phone just nonstop rings, and my husband's like, don't you get tired of your phone ringing? And I'm like, but the people need me. They need, I get the funniest calls. Somebody will call me and say, hey, do you know what time such and such restaurant is open? I'm like, no, you just Google it. But, in the other sense, it makes me happy that they rely on me. That's what it is, that they rely on me. I'll educate them and say, oh, you can just go on Google, and I'll go the extra mile saying, oh yeah, you just go on your phone, especially if it's someone who's not phone savvy or whatever. I'll explain it to them, and then I realized this is something that I love to do. Like, I love to work with the community.
Yeah. So when we talk about your passion, anybody who's talking about their passion, you can feel it in their voice. I mean, you can see it, you can feel it. I mean, there's a real sense of it, and especially when you're saying that your passion is to help other people, that's when people's eyes start to light up. Right. And the whole soul starts to open.
Definitely.
I think, and that's basically what you do,
Right.
So people could say, well, some people could say, oh, well, she's the editor of Apollo, but she is a saleswoman. But the point of it is that's really not. It's a service magazine, really, when you look at it. When you design a menu or something like that for a restaurateur, you are saying, this is the service that I provide to you,
Correct.
So that you can live your passion. And all of that is really, to me, is exciting, and nothing ever happens without excitement,
Right.
and I hear that in your voice. So it's really, it's actually thrilling,
Yeah, and most of my customers, they're customers that they'll invite me to their daughter's sweet 16, or they'll invite me. So they don't see me as a salesperson.
Right.
They don't see me as a salesperson.
Right.
Which is great. I mean, when I go there and they're like, Rosa, I have an invitation for you, and they see me as more than a salesperson.
Right.
And so that's the part that I love about it.
Right, because you're not a salesperson. You're not trying. When I think of salespeople, I think of people trying to give me something that I don't really need,
Right.
or that I don't really want.
Exactly.
But when I see people providing a service for me, that's when the relationship starts.
Right.
And in my business as well, it's the same thing. Many of my former clients are now my best friends. Right. And we share in the family, because it's all about building relationships.
Definitely.
And that's what a good good reading material can do, is really build relationships. With my book as well, I have found that I've met just wonderful people from it, just wonderful women. And I'm sure that that's exactly what this is doing, building relationships. And it also, if you haven't picked up a copy of this, I would recommend that you do, whether you're a Spanish or an English speaker, because what Rosa has done, which I'm very grateful for, is that on one side of the page it is in English, and on the other column that it is in Spanish. So regardless of what language you speak, you can definitely read this magazine. And so I would really highly recommend that you pick this up. Well, Rosa, I really appreciate you coming in and speaking about your passion. Because it is your passion, I know we could go on for like a week talking about this, right?
Definitely.
So I really appreciate it. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. I am glad that you have me here.
And thank you for listening. Thank you for following Storied Women on the People Chronicles. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, The People Chronicles, and you won't miss any stories.
These stories are made possible in part by Queen City Restaurant, Greth Homes, Heidelberg Family Restaurant, and Spring Ridge Financial.